Convene the regular meeting and ask legal counsel Harriet Steiner to report.
There are no reportable actions.
Excellent. Moving to item number 2, I'd like to ask the clerk to read the item into the record.
Item number 2 is for resolution numbers 2017-009. Fund and the final PEG fee fund budgets.
Good afternoon, Bob Davison, your Executive Director. And for the final budget today, as Karen just said, we are recommending that you adopt the resolutions approving the final general fund and PEG fund budgets. The budgets are very close to what was presented at proposed budgets, but there are some changes, so I'll just quickly walk through some of the significant changes. In the general fund, based on audit adjustments that were happening about the same time that we were preparing the proposed budgets, and these audit adjustments have to do with fixed assets and accumulated depreciation, it resulted in about $400,000 more in our fund balance that was trued up, and the carry forward fund balance that was verified in Compass. So with that, there was a little bit of extra money in the general fund. And one thing that we proposed, probably the most, there are several other small adjustments to budget line items. Some of the most significant ones, we're proposing to decrease franchise fee revenue estimates by about $250,000. And the main reason for that is what we've reported to your board before with the situation with the AT&T revenue declining, mostly due to them leaving their UVerse platform and going towards an over-the-top internet with a DirecTV platform, which doesn't pay franchise fees. And given the extra revenue, we kind of took a look at some projections, and we felt it made sense to be a little bit more conservative. And so that's why we're recommending that adjustment. In addition, the most other significant adjustment is an increase of $130,000 in commission contingency. So with that, that's pretty much the general fund. Now, as we're, I think, funding more fixed assets in our PEG fund than in our general fund, I think that's why we had extra money in the general fund. Now, in the PEG fund, it's going the other way. Those audit adjustments resulted in about a little bit over $200,000 in less carry forward fund balance for the PEG fee fund. And so to adjust for that, we're recommending, well, first of all, we were more conservative in the PEG fund than in the general fund in our revenue projections. At the time, I don't exactly remember the reason, but there was really no reason that we needed to be more conservative in the PEG fund and the general fund. So, in noticing that, I think in the general fund, we are proposing revenue estimates to be about 96% of the revenues received the past fiscal year. So applying the same logic would actually result in about an increase of $100,000 in the PEG fund. So we just thought it made sense that the revenue projection in both the general fund and the PEG fund were about the same. And so that's why it may look a little odd, but that's why we're recommending a decrease in revenue projection in the general fund, but an increase in the revenue projection in the PEG fund. So with that, and then the other main adjustment is to the fund balance reserve. We don't have an extra offline reserve in the PEG fund, but we thought we should start one. At proposed budget, I think we were proposing over around $250,000, and so we're reducing that by about $100,000, consistent with this carry forward fund balance. So those are the main adjustments that are recommended in the today's resolutions. So with that, I recommend that you adopt the resolutions approving the final budget for the general fund and the PEG fund. And certainly I can answer any questions if you have them.
Excellent. I'd like to open up the public comment opportunity. I see no speaker slips, but want to give the opportunity. No? Close public comment and open this up to board deliberation and direction.
I move adoption if there's no questions.
Excellent. All those in favor, vote aye.
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 All opposed, vote no. Abstains? Motion carries.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Moving to item 3, I'd like to have the clerk read the item into the record.
Item number 3 is the discussion of Bestnet Phase 3 and future services to our schools.
Okay. Good afternoon again. As your commission is aware, Bestnet is a dedicated iNet for Sacramento schools and is a significant education resource for Sacramento students of all ages, kindergarten through college and even beyond. Bestnet was possible due to a partnership between the commission, the Sacramento Education Cable Consortium, and schools that are associated with SECC, which we tend to call them, their acronym, and Comcast. So that with that partnership, has been extremely successful in providing this broadband fiber infrastructure to Sacramento schools. One of the benefits of Benefit is that it's not just participating in the cable system, but it actually dedicated dark fiber to this Bestnet network. So in other words, I mean, other people are more technical than I can be in describing this, but with dedicated dark fiber, that's there for the schools. It's not, it doesn't slow down when other people are using the system and such. The fiber was installed by Comcast and was paid for by the schools, by SECC, and by the Cable Commission with the various grants over the years. Just to quickly remind you, the Commission has allocated over $6.9 million in past funding to different phases of Bestnet. The Phase 2, which included high schools, initial phases actually included district offices and CSUS, and then also for the Phase 3, which was the elementary school phase. And most of those phases are complete, except there are some remaining elementary schools that haven't been finished, and that has been discussed, by this commission in the past. But there is currently $1.2 million in today's final budget that's allocated to the completion of the Bestnet for this final elementary school phase. But with that, there's some things that we feel need to be attended to before that investment is made. So while this has been a great partnership, this final phase has not been completed. Remaining schools are on hold. During these discussions, Comcast informed the Commission that they would not renew the agreement and that they believe that with the Digital Infrastructure Video Competition Act of 2006, that they felt that their obligation to Bestnet ends in 2023 when the Commission, when the original franchise would have ended, had it not gone to a state franchise. And that the dark fiber, which I just mentioned, reverts back to Comcast. Staff believes that Comcast has a binding obligation to renew the agreement and or to continue to provide Bestnet dark fiber on the same terms and conditions that are outlined in that agreement. And staff's position is that that's in the agreement that was agreed to. The dark fiber was a significant investment that I don't believe that the Commission or the schools felt at the time was a rental that went away at the end of 2023, that we were purchasing dark fiber for the benefit of the school districts and schools. So given the impasse, the board asked staff to schedule this discussion as an opportunity for Comcast, the Commission, SECC, and school district representatives to discuss how to complete the Bestnet build, how to continue the support of Bestnet, and to discuss service to other schools that goes beyond the 2023. With that, I would like to see this issue resolved with clarity so that we can move forward and agree how to proceed with the completion of the elementary school build. The schools must continue to have the use of Bestnet without any significant additional cost. And I just want to mention one other thing, though. Since the staff report was prepared, Comcast has contacted the Commission, and I think we have just scheduled a meeting to continue these discussions. And I think that meeting is going to happen within a couple weeks. So with that, that's my presentation. I can answer any questions. Harriet Steiner certainly has been involved in the Bestnet, in the legal aspects of the agreement for a while. And Liz Rhodes is here with SECC, and she can answer some questions as well. And as I understand, there's representatives from school districts here today as well. Thank you.
I'm going to open this up to public comment. There's several public comments here, so if you've not filled out a slip, please do so. First up is Terry Kritzies, and after that will be Jerry Jones. Also, please ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less.
Good afternoon, Board. Thank you for having me. My name is Terry Kritzepis. I am the Chief Technology Officer for the Folsom Cordova Unified School District. So under this issue, I wanted to thank the Board, the Cable Commission, SECC, and Comcast for being an integral partner over the years, working with K-12 districts, SECC, the Cable Commission, with a determined, altruistic, and philanthropic mindset to help the children of the Sacramento region bridge the technology gap and deliver the promise of digital learning, science, technology, engineering, and math opportunities, and realizing the critical skills needed to compete and lead in the modern American workforce. Without Bestnet, Folsom Cordova Unified School District would have had a difficult time delivering modern, unfunded mandates for online testing, assessments for students, the growth of our STEM Academy that uses virtual field trips to places like Aerojet, NASA, national parks, and other places, and curriculum that infuses STEM for all grades and levels, including our project Lead the Way. Our partnership with Comcast and Folsom and Rancho Cordova taxpayer investments into Bestnet have helped the district achieve that connectivity that modern classrooms require to deliver digital learning without taking away from much needed funding programs that students of all kinds rely on to be successful. Currently, all existing Folsom Cordova school sites are part of Bestnet. However, I find it deeply troubling that many of our neighboring Sacramento districts and their students are being delayed in delivering an equitable and modern digital environment for all children of the region as part of the original plan with Comcast. Going forward, and as mentioned, through the amazing and generous partnership with Comcast, citizens of Folsom Cordova, and the Sacramento region, we've greatly contributed through bond measures and district funds to build a high-speed dark fiber network with Comcast. These investments make it possible so that our district can continue funding critical education programs, special education curriculum, and other critical needs our students and staff face. It is my utmost concern that we continue moving forward with Comcast to keep Bestnet continuing into the foreseeable future and protecting the technology environments in place for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jerry Jones, and after that will be Steve Matt.
Good afternoon. My name is Jerry Jones, and I'm the Executive Director for the Technology Department at the Sacramento County Office of Education. First of all, I want to thank the Commission for your support of Bestnet. This network has been a huge success for the K-12 education community in Sacramento, both by providing critical educational network services to each district, but also by unifying the Sacramento County districts in a way that is rarely seen outside of our county. The Sacramento County Office of Education has played a critical role in designing, supporting, and maintaining the Bestnet network backbone since its inception. While Comcast dark fiber is a critical part of Bestnet, the network is also comprised of dark fiber provided by other partners in the Sacramento area. By using dark fiber as the underlying foundation, Bestnet is a network that was built by educators for educators and meets the unique needs of our county's 244,000 students. Our agency recently worked with the K-12 high-speed network to upgrade our internet connection at no cost to the districts. This has made Bestnet one of the fastest networks in California. This upgrade allows our districts to provide cloud-based services and instruction to students, computerized testing, disaster recovery, and to collaborate with each other in ways that just wouldn't be possible without a self-managed network. The county school districts have a lot invested in this network. We designed it to meet our needs, we've maintained it, and we've upgraded it whenever the needs arise. The unique nature of this network has allowed us to operate on an economy of scale that prudently uses taxpayer dollars and resources in ways that wouldn't be possible if each district had to purchase internet connectivity separately. I want to mention that I've appreciated our partnership with Comcast over the years. They've been a great partner since the inception of Bestnet, and when there have been problems with dark fiber, they've been quick to fix it, and we've appreciated that. However, the future of Bestnet now seems uncertain. This network has been a very robust and stable presence in the Sacramento County for a long time, but I'm concerned that there appears to be no movement on renewing the agreement with Comcast before it expires in 2023. I know that seems like a long way out, but education agencies must plan in advance due to lack of funding, and the contract expiration date is looming large on the horizon for us. I'm hopeful that under the terms of the original agreement, Comcast can finish building the network as planned and begin to work closely with us to renew the agreement long before the expiration date. Since the dark fiber has already been paid for by taxpayer and ratepayer dollars, we are hopeful that the negotiations will focus on a reasonable maintenance fee to maintain the dark fiber that is already in place and being used. In closing, I want to thank the Commission for all of your support for Bestnet and this network. It is the envy of education communities outside of Sacramento. I know based on past experiences with our Comcast partner that we can work together to resolve whatever issues have arisen so that we can complete the network and renew the agreement. This will go a long way in lifting the clouds of doubt and uncertainty that have fallen over Bestnet and will ensure that this invaluable educational resource will be available for years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is Steve Matt, and after that will be Russell Celkon.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Steve Mate. I'm the Director of Technology Services for Elk Grove Unified School District and the board chair for the SECC. I'm here today to talk to you, obviously, about Bestnet. Bestnet's a wonderful 15-year collaborative project that the Sacramento educational institutions have designed, developed, and invested heavily in. It is based on a contractual agreement to provide connectivity to all Sacramento students for the long term. We threw all of our eggs in one basket, so to speak, knowing there would be favorable renewal terms in 2023. Bestnet has made us a leader in the state, the envy of every other community. Bestnet has allowed my district to provide infrastructure for 21st century learning classrooms. It's been a great example how companies and local organizations can work together to make things better for kids in schools. Over the past few years, the number of devices in our district has grown substantially. By the end of this year, we'll have over 50,000 student devices and Chromebooks connected to the network. 5 years ago, to put it in context, we had about 10,000. These devices are used every single day and have been woven into all aspects of our curriculum. Other districts have also been able to do similar things. Bestnet is a huge factor in how and why we can increase to this many devices. Bestnet is our foundation. That's why we invested so heavily in it. Bestnet is a network designed and operated by all K-12 districts and colleges in Sacramento. A major portion of that fiber plant is comprised by Comcast fiber. However, there are redundant paths and fiber from sources other than Comcast. The operational piece, including all the end equipment, is owned and managed by districts and colleges, not Comcast. It's been great for us and the community, and I thought it was great for Comcast. But something happened, and I'm not sure exactly what. We've had contracts signed, schools listed to be completed, and things just have kind of come to a halt. Many schools are still not connected, and there's been no talk of renewal for 2023. We've always had good relationship with Comcast while working on this project, but now something's changed. I greatly appreciate all the work and money that you as a board has put into this, and also the work that Comcast has done. Today, I'm here asking the board to use your weight to help complete the contract we have in place with Comcast and help us renew for 2023. We entered in this contract in good faith and have done what we can to get things completed. We encourage you to bring us all back together to get us on the right track, to talk with Comcast and figure out how to collaboratively finish this project. We've always been able to work our way through issues in the past by sitting down and finding that win-win scenario. Losing everything that we've put into this would be bad for business, it'd be bad for the community, and most important, it would be bad for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Next is Russell Celkon. After that will be Jason Gregg.
I'd like to thank the Commission for the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Russ Celkon. I'm the Executive Director of Information and Educational Technology at Twin Rivers School District. My colleagues did a great job articulating what we've been against and what we've been able to do with this network. It's transformative. I mean, that's the first and only word I can say on when you have the right bandwidth for students. We all know this is a global economy and that our students need to have the same opportunities as any other students, not just in California, but in the United States. Prior to coming to Twin Rivers 2 years ago, I personally experienced as being the chair of the California Teleconnect Fund for the CPUC and the State Education Network and working with the FCC, what the nation is doing at large. And Steve's right, Sacramento's ahead of the game, but we're starting to fall behind because of this lag in this agreement. In my schools alone, we're doing virtual field trips where students do interactive videos with park rangers, not only in California, but in Florida. They have unique skill sets in terms of what information is in Florida for turtles, and they had a unit in science where they were doing that. So this network has enabled that. If you look at this as more of not just an economic ecosystem for our students, prepare them for the future, but it's an educational ecosystem. And you may be familiar, but right now this dark fiber connects to Jerry earlier, Sacramento County Office of Ed. Then it connects to a statewide education network that the taxpayers of California pay for approximately $15 to $25 million annually. So this is an ecosystem and a technology ecosystem that will break down at the school site level if this agreement falls apart. I don't know, I guess I was brought up where a deal's a deal. You give your word, and in the spirit in the contract, I know my district would like to see Comcast to continue forward with this. We have over 20 schools that haven't been connected to date. So thanks for your time and support, but we appreciate everything you've done to date. Thank you.
Thank you, Russell. Jason Gregg. After that will be Mark Lawler.
Good afternoon, Board. I'm Jason Gregg. I'm Director of Tech Services for the Los Rios Community College District. Currently, our build-out with the Bestnet is only 5 of our 20 sites. However, it's been a great benefit to the district. Los Rios Community College District also leverages other private parties for dark fiber in the area to interconnect all this. And what we've seen recently with the private vendors on dark fibers, the prices have significantly increased in recent years. There's a tremendous benefit to what has been built with SCC, Comcast, and the help of the Cable Commission. Schools do not get internet or network allocations with their ADA funding for their base funding. So if Bestnet goes away, the schools and the districts will have to find a way to pay for this. And most likely that would mean loss of classroom supply, staffing, or programs like music or after-school programs to fund these things. I hope that the Comcast would not see this as a revenue stream, that this is a franchise agreement that's been built over the years. I've had the privilege of leading in El Dorado County and Butte County as where Russ Celkon served, and in Sacramento County. And in Butte County and Sacramento County, there's been a similar franchise agreement like this that makes the schools win. And in El Dorado County, that franchise agreement only allowed for an internet connection in the library, which didn't really benefit the schools. So I hope that you'll see the great work that has been done here in Sacramento County. As you've heard over and over, this has been a tremendous foundation to the network that serves our students. It's been a great investment in the future of our students, and providing schools with dark fiber gives them more flexibility to build the network that is adequate for their school. In my professional opinion, this is one of the best arrangements of a franchise agreement consortium ever. It was built with schools and students in mind. And with that, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to speak today.
Thanks, Jason. Mark Lawler, followed by Elliot Lopez.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Lawler. I am from the Robles School District. I am a technology teacher. I want to thank you so much for inviting me to come speak today. And I'd like to thank you and Comcast, who joined together many years ago to create Bestnet, that has provided a boon for the poorest in this community. My school district is made up of 90% free and reduced lunch. It is made up of 25% homeless. To give you perspective on that, if you walk into a classroom of 30 students, 6 of them are homeless in every classroom I have. These children do not have access. And I applaud Comcast for having created internet access at a reasonable price, as well as providing refurbished computers to do that. But for the homeless students, there is no access. Now, with the lack of discussions about the current growth in Bestnet, we are concerned. It doesn't affect us right now. We were wired up. We got lucky. We got done. But it affects those that are in the future. And if those children can't reach out and see what's going on in their community beyond their own backyard, to see what's going on in their country, to possibly be able to connect with relatives, because we can't afford to put that internet towards them, for them, with after-school opportunities, with all other opportunities. It is a very difficult time for us. Should we have to go search for internet otherwise? The gentlemen that have spoken and the ladies that will speak in the future will be better to explain to you the budget issues. For me, it's a little more practical. If you take money away from what we have to spend, if you were taking money to spend on the internet, you're taking money away from some other program in my classroom. I thank you very much for having the opportunity to speak to you, and I wish you well in this endeavor.
Thanks, Mark. Elliot Lopez, followed by Dan O'Halloran.
Good afternoon. My name is Elliot Lopez, and I'm the Chief Information Officer at the Sacramento City Unified School District. I'm here today to share our context in hopes that the partnership can resume towards an expedient completion of the Bestnet project. As outlined in Executive Director Davison's report, Bestnet has been a tremendous resource for our schools. Every day in our district, students log in thousands of times to the dozens of instructional applications and internet-based services that our teachers have come to rely upon to engage kids and prepare them for life. Bestnet is an integral part of the infrastructure that our school district has invested in to transform learning, promote collaboration, and to ensure that our students graduate with the greatest number of post-secondary choices from the widest array of options. Unfortunately, our district has grave concerns about the future of this project. Many of the school sites promised for completion by July of 2016 remain without Bestnet connectivity. While funds allocated to this project, public tax dollars allocated from a bond issued by the district have been encumbered for years. Tens of thousands of additional dollars have been expended for equipment that the district uses to support the network. Further, we have been contracting with a separate third-party vendor to provide services to these unfinished sites while waiting for completion at great cost to our district. With every day that passes, the value, cost, benefit, and return on investment to our district for Bestnet is diminished. Sacramento City Unified serves over 43,000 students on more than 70 campuses, and over 70% of our students are socioeconomically disadvantaged. U.S. Census data tells us that fewer than 60% of households in poverty have broadband at home, meaning that reliable high-speed network connectivity at school is the only means by which many of our students have access to the content, resources, and tools they need to achieve academically. For our students and for our district, this is an issue of equity. We are grateful for the funding and support that you have provided for this project to date, and for Comcast's partnership in rolling out the sites that are now online. Given the benefits of this resource, especially to the neediest kids in the region, we hope that work will be resumed and completed as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Elliot. Dan O'Halloran, followed by Barbara Schiffner.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Dan O'Halloran, Program Manager for Networking and Telecommunications with the San Juan Unified School District. From my perspective, the Bestnet program has been an exciting collaborative project I'm happy to be a part of, working together with technical teams from all of the school districts, our County Office of Education, Comcast, the Educational Cable Consortium, with support from you, the Cable Commission, to provide a network connectivity solution for all schools in the county. It's a great program, and I don't think there's anything like it elsewhere. Bestnet fiber optic cable by Comcast has been a cost-effective and reliable solution for San Juan Unified School District and is an important part of our district's network infrastructure. Of course, like one of my colleagues said, the equipment at the campus level is not part of Bestnet, the routers and switches and wireless access points and cabling. But Bestnet fiber connects all of our schools together and connects us to the internet. Bestnet fiber is fully implemented at San Juan Unified School District. So how is it helping our students? Well, besides internet connectivity, the connectivity to each school has supported our efforts to conduct state-mandated online assessment testing. With Bestnet, we've been able to implement an online credit recovery program at every high school that assists students that have fallen behind to recover and receive class credit, allowing them to meet entrance requirements for college. This year, we've implemented the use of Google online classroom tools for teachers. And for the first time, we are implementing a full online English language arts and development curriculum for grades 6, 7, and 8 throughout the district. The program is doing very well, which has led us to discuss the addition of further online curriculum. Bestnet has been a great collaborative partnership until recently. I'm not sure what's happened. Others have said the same thing. But in the past, we've always been able to sit down and work through the issues.
I'm asking the Cable Commission to help us get the Bestnet Phase 3 implementation project going again for my colleagues at districts that have not completed their Bestnet infrastructure so they can have the benefits of Bestnet for their districts. And I'm asking you to help us make Bestnet a long-lasting, reliable, and cost-effective program for our educational community beyond the year 2023. Thank you for your support of this important program.
Thanks, Dan. Barbara Schiffner, followed by Liz Rhodes.
Hello, my name is Barbara Schiffner, and I'm the Director of Technology for Natomas Unified School District. And thank you for having me here today. I didn't have anything written down because I'm speaking from my heart. This contract that we've had with Comcast has been an outstanding thing for our district. Natomas is the #1 most diverse school district in the nation, and a lot of my colleagues said, are serving to help our kids get the teaching that they need. Our school district still has 8 schools that haven't been part of the program, and my goal here today is to have them be part of this program so that they can have the benefits that all of our other schools have. So I'm hoping that we can come to a decision today to complete this project and to have a contract that goes beyond 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. And last up, we have Liz Rhodes.
Good afternoon. I'm Liz Rhodes. I'm the Executive Director of the Sacramento Educational Cable Consortium. I have been here since day one on this. I think Supervisor Natoli, it was you and I are the last one standing. This has been an incredible journey. You've heard how important this network is to our schools and what a fabulous resource this has been. It was not possible without you, without Comcast, our partners, without your staff, and without all of the people over the past 15 years who have worked to develop this network. It truly is a unique resource. And it is something that at all costs I think we need to maintain. I want to say in terms of an administrative point of view, it's not always been easy. We've had some pretty significant hurdles. But one of the wonderful things about Comcast, one of the wonderful things about all of the other partners that we've had, SureWest, STI, way back in the day, Consolidated, is that we have always been able to sit down and to work out whatever problems there are. And we've been able to come up with these win-win scenarios. And I think that's the difference here in Sacramento, is that when we get the right people at the table and we're able to talk about what the needs are of each group, and we realize that there's got to be give and take. A contract is only as good as the people who make it. I am absolutely convinced that given the opportunity, I know that given the opportunity to sit down and to work with Comcast, they have been tremendous, to work with your tremendous staff. They have been behind this 100% of the way. This is just kind of like the biggest hurdle we've had. And it would be a travesty for us to lose this resource in our community. I think that we've all put way too much energy, way too much time to let it go. And I know that with your guidance, with the support of Comcast, the support of the school districts, we can make this happen. And I think that's very, very important. So my thing is that we've done it before. I think we can do it again. And I appreciate your time. I appreciate Comcast's support. I appreciate the support of your staff and all of the school districts that are here. You've heard how important this is to them. We need to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. With that, I'm going to close the public comment and open this up to board.
Pull art. I didn't put a card in, but if I could just take a few minutes. My name is Philip Hart, and I'm the Government Affairs Director for Comcast. I cover the Sacramento region, the Sacramento Valley area, and I've had the privilege of working with Liz, with the Metro Cable Commission, and also with the school districts. I'll begin my comments real quickly with a story. A couple years ago, a colleague of mine came to me, and he lives in Elk Grove, and his daughter, I think at the time, was in 3rd or 4th grade. And he came to me and he said, Philip, my daughter's class today communicated with the space station and the astronauts. and that's because of Bestnet. And so we know, Comcast knows the value of this project of iNet. There's been other iNet agreements in other, prior to the state franchising in other areas. Sometimes the dark fiber sits there, it's never used. But in the case of Bestnet, when Comcast built the fiber, the Educational Cable Consortium came in, put in the electronics, and put this to use. And it's a good story, and it's a story, I think, worth hearing multiple times over and over by the school districts and by Liz Rhodes. So I'm just here today to tell you that Comcast is committed to continuing to work with the Cable Commission, with the Bestnet folks, to find a path forward for 2023 and beyond. It's difficult. The agreement was signed 5 years before the iPhone was invented. What technology was in 2002 was not what it was in 2006, certainly isn't what it is in 2017, and who knows what it's going to be in 2023. It's a question that we're finding out, everybody's finding out. So what I think is important is to continue the meetings with the Cable Commission, with the Bestnet folks, which we hope to do on the 25th of this month, to talk about the path forward and after 2023, but also talk about what we need to do right now to get the project going again. We are committed to the terms of the agreement of the 2002 agreement. And we look forward, I think that's the message that we're hearing today from the school districts, is how do we complete the remaining list. In March, I believe it was March of 2016, we had a very good meeting with Liz and some of the Bestnet folks and Robert and others from the Cable Commission to begin, because we were looking at June of 2016, knowing that there were some remaining schools, and how do we move after June 30th of 2016? And we believe we're on a path forward with how to do that. We've met earlier this year, and again, we look forward to meeting again. So I'm just here, again, simply on behalf of Comcast to say that we want to continue to be partners with Liz Rhodes, with Bestnet, and the Cable Commission with respect to this terrific project. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Appreciate it. Do you mind filling out a speaker form? Perfect. Thanks very much. Excellent. I'm going to go to member comments and start with Mr. Natoli.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to say thanks to all the folks that have been here today and for their work, certainly the school districts and certainly our Metro staff and Comcast. And I think that as Philip just kind of summarized, I think it's important because one thing that will stay consistent, that's the need for our young people in this community and certainly communities throughout our state and our nation is to have the ability to learn, to certainly be technologically connected to other parts of the state, the nation, and the world, and I think to allow the tools that are so readily invested in and readily available in this community because of what's taken place, to allow them to continue to be used in a way that benefits this community, its young people, but certainly the community at large. And so I think that, again, on the 25th, there's going to be a meeting. I know our staff certainly will be there, along with obviously Liz and folks from the consortium and certainly Comcast. And I think it's in everybody's best interest to recognize that, yeah, we don't know exactly what's going to happen in 2023, but I think the consistency in the theme that I see here, though, is that young people in the classroom are going to have a need and certainly a desire to want to learn and to stay connected, and that this investment that this community has made working with the partners that have been mentioned time and time again is thoroughly invested. It's a model for other communities throughout the state and nation. And I think it would be a shame if we weren't able to figure this out in a way that completes the system, but also then assures that 2023 and beyond, that those young people, our districts, certainly with the instructors and the commitment in the educational realm, but certainly that with our, obviously, the provider of the service, Comcast and others, that we maintain that network and see to it that that's here for the future, irrespective of what technology brings, so that we have the opportunity to allow young people to learn. So again, I just, I'm, as one member of this commission, certainly, as Liz pointed out, been here for some time, but I think it's in the interest of all the communities that we represent in this community in its entirety to see to it that this gets completed, but also we have an arrangement that provides for this well into the future, recognizes certainly the investment that's been made. Thanks.
Thanks. Go to Garrett Gatewood.
Hey guys, so I'm an old tech, very old tech, run a tech company. I'm gonna ask some tech questions from my crew. Are they running a point-to-point? Is it VoIP over our systems? Would we have to replace all that? Or are we running some VPN tunnels through San Juan, Rancho? What are we actually running, guys, out there, over their network?
It's basically mixture, but because it's dark fiber,
Mm-hmm.
it's really like a private network.
Okay.
Can you come up to the lectern? Thanks.
I have Jerry Jones again with the Sacramento County Office of Education. So I get to work with all of the districts individually and as a whole as well. So it's kind of a mixture of things, but because we were able to get dark fiber, we put our own equipment between the district central office and each one of the school sites, and literally becomes a self-contained private network. So that part of it essentially is not exposed to the internet, and then the district office has a connection to the Bestnet backbone, which is what we manage, and that's what provides the internet connectivity down to the district. And the districts have firewalls and things like that in place that protect them, and then everything behind the firewall from the internet. Does that make sense? So they do run VoIP over it.
What's the speed basically we got to the sites?
So right now we have 10 gigabit connectivity to each one of the district offices. And then they have, some of them have 10 gigs to their own school sites, some of them 1 gig, because they can put whatever equipment they want to on there. They could run for what they need at the time and then upgrade it easily later at minimal cost, because it's something that we can buy ourselves, usually at a discounted rate, and pay a one-time cost in order to buy that equipment instead of paying an ongoing monthly fee.
Is the Folsom Cordova, are we running on VoIP out there? Do we have VoIP over there, Comcast?
Yeah.
So we'd have to, not through Comcast though? No,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, we usually run our own VoIP systems. So each district has their own VoIP system that they purchase and run.
Sorry guys, I'm super techie. I apologize. So if we were to not be able to renew, I'm just trying to figure out the cost, because that's what I'm actually adding up. So if we can't actually renew the system, we lose the 10 gig drop that we got at every location, and then that is how do we also process like our own CCTV over it as well?
Many do, yes. Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
That's been a need really in the past couple of years, is putting cameras at all of our school sites and then monitoring centrally at the district office. So yeah, there would be a significant cost, because we'd have to replace the 10 gig connection, and our backbone is redundant too. So we have redundant fibers all throughout the county. So if one fiber goes down, the districts reroute a different direction. So building something like that from scratch by leasing circuits would be super expensive. And then they'd also have to go out and get circuits, as would we, to some of our school sites, from the district office back to the school sites, to still kind of keep a private network that they can control with, again, firewalls and other security measures. So you're talking lots of money.
Right, exactly. And then Rancho, we're totally connected up, correct? Folsom Rancho. And then Elk Grove, we totally connected up? Sorry, I have like 4 districts in my Are we connected through the system all the way?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And then San Juan, fully done? Okay.
And then the other thing too is it's not really just the money that's the problem. It would be trying to re-engineer all of our networks through a different service provider.
Right, it's practically...
That's more of a nightmare than even the money, to be honest with you. It's this has been in place for so long, we've been so reliant on it that everything just works. I mean,
yeah, we kind of built all our infrastructure on top of it, so to pull it away, we'd have to redo everything from scratch.
Exactly.
Which sounds like a lot of fun. That guy in the back, Cordova, he's got it handled. Elk Grove going to help him out. No big deal. Totally take it on. Okay. All right. And all right, those are my basic questions. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks. Lori Hewer.
I just have a couple questions. Mr. Davidson, phase 3, has any of phase 3 been completed?
Yes, several elementary schools in phase 3 were completed. So I don't have the numbers. Liz Rhodes may have.
You don't know the percentage, or is it half or 25?
I certainly can get those numbers to you and email them. Okay.
Okay. I'm just concerned when I look at the list, you know, because I sit on the commission representing the cities of Folsom, Rancho, Cordova, and the city of Galt. And conservatively speaking, it looks like 20 to 25,000 students, if I look at Phase 3 list, don't have Bestnet. And that concerns me if the timeline was to been completed by 2016, correct? So we're a year past the completion date. And
yes.
All of these students are getting older and having less access to technology, so I really hope on the 25th that when you meet that we can come to agreement to get back to providing those students and teachers the resources that they need for our students. So thank you.
Are there any other board comments? No? Excellent. All right, we'll move on to item number 4. Oh.
Sorry, I tacked up there a little bit later. I've listened to both sides of this, and here's where my concerns are. We have a corporation who has sold its licensing and its beliefs to the public that they're a tremendous community service operation, that they have the best interests of the community, they give back and they support the schools, and they do all those things on behalf of the schools. And that makes for great play for publicity. However, we have a series of contractual agreements, installation schedulings, and money from public entities that's there, ready to use, that's not being serviced. At what point do we say it is now time to either get moving or decide what you're going to do? Because we can't have both. We're having neglect of duty out there in terms of getting this done to the city, or to the schools and to our students. I don't know what action is out there that suddenly, or that we're basing our hat on, that the statement here is that they're no longer required to renew agreements with the cable companies because of the Bestnet system. Haven't seen anything there. I don't know what theory that Comcast is using that this is not something they need to do, and obviously the legal side of this is where we will see it. But my concern is this: as a group of folks sitting here representing our students, our school districts, and the public dollars, we are not seeing the results we need to see, and we're not seeing the table, seated at the table, the folks necessary to make those decisions done. So I'm hoping that this next meeting, finally, the next report that comes back to us does in fact supply some answers to those questions and some idea of the remedies that are going to be taken so that this does not keep rising, and that we can look at a brighter future at the end of 2023 and beyond for our schools and for the districts.
Don Natoli?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Just I have a question for Bob. Bob, you've got this meeting, obviously, certainly at the executive director level and working with Liz and with Philip and his folks. At some juncture, do you think it would be wise to have, say, a subcommittee of this board, either your chair and your vice chair, or maybe I don't know if you have an executive committee, but this is important enough, I think, as reflected certainly about the comments made here today and all the words that have been said thus far. I think certainly the level of seriousness may arise to that. So I guess I'd ask for maybe you and Harriet to weigh in on that. And obviously, defer to our chair if that was something we wanted to do at a future meeting, or if you needed that even going into the 25th meeting.
So I do think it would be very helpful to have a board subcommittee that we can, that could potentially participate in meetings, and for which we can contact in between meetings to make sure we're all working in the same direction and consistent with at least a subcommittee's worth of the board. Because I do think one of the problems that we've had over the last year is being able to schedule meetings and have them be effective. And so, as the board is aware, we haven't had a meeting for many, many months, and I think that is one of the main problems we're having. And I'm very glad that Comcast has now agreed to sit down on the 25th, but I think it's really important to be able to move that forward so that all the different sides are sitting at the table, and I think if we all talk to one another, hopefully we can reach an agreement. And the board members, I think, would be very helpful for that.
Okay, so I would defer to you, Mr. Chair, but not that we need to do it now, it wasn't agendized, but if we need to have a subcommittee of sorts to, I think, either be in direct contact, because we don't meet, but, often quarterly, sometimes a little more frequently every other month, but it depends. And so I think with the level of interest has been expressed by everyone here at the dais, it would seem to me that having a subcommittee, and I guess I just leave it to the chair to, if he and or designee and maybe 2 or 3 of us could be a party to that, so that there's some information relative to, if you need feedback, obviously you can call a special meeting if you need it. I don't know it's going to move that quickly, but I think to the last comments by my colleague that, there's some urgency certainly to completing the bill, but then also to getting to some understanding about where we're going to be post 2023. So.
Would you think that would be a group that should be determined at this point or at a later point?
So I think if the board desires, there was pretty broad authority for discussion and action on the agenda. So if that's one of the things the board would like to do, I think you can do it under the current agenda if that's your desire.
So it sounds like you could do it today if there was an interest. So.
Yeah. Either that, or I suppose you could authorize the chair to appoint such a subcommittee, whichever you prefer.
Is there any disagreement by the board to allow the chair to have authorization to create a subcommittee? No?
Fine.
Okay. We'll go forward with that.
Want some volunteers so you won't get stuck with trying to get everybody to respond to you?
Sure. Is anybody want to volunteer? Mr. Fox?
I'll help.
Lori?
Yep. Excellent.
I will too.
Great. Thanks very much. Okay. With that, we'll move on to the next item, and I'll have the clerk read the item into the record.
So to reiterate for the record, then the subcommittee will consist of Board Director Gatewood, Natoli, and Hewer. Correct?
Chair.
And the chair, yes.
And the chair.
Uh-huh.
Vice chair.
Yeah, I think we should also include the chair of the board as well.
Chair Detrick? Yes, sir. Okay. Item number 4 then is the Conflict of Interest Code, listing revision to our designated positions.
And item 4 is receive and file of our Conflict of Interest Code. It just includes minor revisions based upon recent changes to this board. They were clearly outlined in the staff report, and I can certainly answer any questions if you have them.
Is there any discussion?
Actually, I'm sorry. I said it was receive and, excuse me. I said it was receive and file. It's actually, we're asking the board to approve the Conflict of Interest Code, Appendix A, which revises a list of designated positions. Apologize for that error.
No worries.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Great. Please vote on your screen.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Clerk, can you read item number 5 into the record?
Yes. Item number 5 is our calendar year 2016 surplus property list.
And this item is actually a receive and file item. So I'm recommending that you receive and file this fixed asset annual list. It includes items that don't function in whole or part, are beyond repair, are technically obsolete, are no longer needed by the commission, and have been fully depreciated and have no residual value.
Getting rid of Karen's old computer.
So the board will receive and file the surplus property list. Item number 6, please read to the record.
Item number 6 is our calendar year 2018 quarterly board meeting schedule.
And this is another receive and file item, and it's just what Karen said it is the schedule for the next calendar year's 2018 board meetings.
Excellent. Board will receive and file that. Item number 7, please read to the record.
Item number 7 is to receive a verbal report from staff regarding commission matters.
Okay. I have a few items for some quick discussion. First, I want to tell you about some staff changes at the Cable Commission. First, we hired a new programming coordinator, and I'd like to introduce Doug Bickup. Bigham. Hi. Am I pronouncing that right? Just stand up. Doug Bigham. Doug has experience. He's from the Bay Area, so he's actually worked for the City of Concord, Walnut Creek, and Contra Costa Television. So he's been involved in the same kind of meetings in the East Bay Area, and so we're happy to have his expertise and helping us with in the programming coordinator position. So I welcome Doug. I do want to also, we have another new staff person, Jennifer Nagatoshi. I'm doing bad on the pronunciations today, but she's a new temporary help for us, office assistant that's working with Karen in the Cable Commission office, and we really need the help, so we're really excited to have her on board as well. And then I do want to report, speaking of the admin staff, Marianne Soletto has been with us for the past couple of years and just is growing tremendously. And she's been promoted to the Senior Office Assistant Confidential position. Mary, would you stand up? So I just want to announce that promotion. And, you know, we're excited for these new and growing staffing for the commission.
Great.
Thank you.
Welcome to the new additions, and congratulations.
And we just panned you on the cable television so you can tell your friends and family to watch you on TV too. So just give a screenshot of it. So.
Maybe I should have had them come up to the front. So
we got you.
All right. Next item for my report is the classification and compensation study that I've talked to this board about previously. We've just received position descriptions and such, and we're reviewing those, and we understand that the consultant is moving forward to the compensation part of this study, which we should get the results of that shortly. I'm hoping this will be an item for your board in December.
Great.
So with that, also I want to update you on the Telecom Advocacy Coalition lobbying effort, which this commission participates in through Harriet Steiner's firm, which has put together this coalition. They have actually hired a lobbyist to lobby for certain needs, including this SB 649, which I talked about at the last commission meeting. This is the small cell, or the 5G bill, as some people call it. Some people think it's doing a lot more than small cell or 5G, and it's basically the telecom companies are pushing for limited review and discretion for local agencies in regards to the builds of these networks. I know that there was some internet article showing the size of certain vaults and communication cabinets and things that could be affixed to telephone poles. You know, these vaults are as big as what a person could fit inside, so they're not just small little antennas. It's, you know, significant pieces of material that could be in the rights of way, and this bill has been making its way through the Assembly and the Senate. We're told by our lobbyists that they're going to go to Senate and Assembly votes very shortly, and it's not likely that the bill's going to be amended beyond what amendments everybody's already seen. The League of Cities, CSAC, and at least 250 cities and counties throughout California are all against this. The mayor of LA has met with Governor Brown recently, and I think the city of Los Angeles has taken recent action against this bill. We're told by our lobbyists that there is some traction with the governor, that you know, our lobbyists, the coalition lobbyists, I should say, when I say our, it's the coalition, not the cable commissions, but we do participate, has had meeting with the governor's staff and felt that the questions were being asked, that there's definitely interest and an interest to review this proposed legislation, and even going into discussions that have dove deep into the issues, and that's promising. So, you know, at this point, the hope is that the governor does not sign that legislation. So, and with that, I think that's the end of my update for today.
Great.
Unless there's any questions.
Yeah, are there any questions or comments from the board? No? We'll move on to the item number 8. Please read to the record.
Item number 8 is to receive verbal reports from our channel licensee representatives.
Great. We have 2 speaker slips, and first we'll have Liz Rhodes, followed by Gary Martin.
Hi, Liz Rhodes again. Thank you very much. Always appreciate your support and especially your interest and your comments. It's very helpful. It's nice to have that strong arm behind and push the child that doesn't want to cooperate. So I do appreciate that. I didn't know how to phrase that correctly and politically, you know. Anyway, but I wanted to share with you the launch of the 2018 SIVA contest. Our posters are out. If I can maybe just pass these around. Would you mind? Thank you. You'll notice your logo at the bottom, as well as Comcast, their big sponsor for us. The SIVA competition, for those of you that are new, I think some of you may have seen it at the last meeting. I'm sorry, I was in Greece, that I couldn't be here to share that with you. But we're very excited. We've got the first 6 schools from the funding that you provided this year that are going to be getting their facilities up and running by Christmas time. And then we've got another 6 planned for the second half of the year, bringing the total close to 40 schools. We've got quite a few new students participating. We've got some new trainings coming out, and we are all set for our big Oscar night, which is going to be April 15th. Get it on your calendars. 2018. Easy to remember, would have been tax day, except it's a Sunday. So you're all invited. I'm inviting you now, so you can't tell me you don't have it on your calendar. But again, this is such a tremendous project in our schools, and it gives our students the voice that they don't have in other ways. And what we're seeing, the positive responses that are coming out have been absolutely phenomenal. Big thing again is that if there are things going on in your district where we can get our students out and doing some media coverage for you, we would love to do that. It's great to train the students. It's wonderful to have them do projects and share information about what's going on in their school. It's even more powerful if they can get out into the community. So I've asked you before about that. Please, at any time, feel free to contact me. We would love to set you up to go out and see what's happening in these facilities, as well as to have maybe a crew follow you around for a day or on some specific project that you have going. So thank you again. Always appreciate your support and your help.
Liz, do you perhaps have this in a digital form? So maybe some offices, if they want to advertise it to their mailing lists or anything like that?
I can absolutely get you the PDF, and I can also get you additional copies, so whatever you would like.
Great. Maybe if you shoot it over to Bob, and then he can circle out to the rest of us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Great. Now we have Gary Martin. Is Gary here?
He was.
He's not.
Okay. He had to leave? Okay. Let's move to the next item. Would the clerk please read that into the record?
Item number 9 is to receive verbal reports from representatives of the state franchisees who are present.
Don't have any speaker slips for this, but
Good afternoon again. Philip Arndt. I'm with Comcast. A couple of things I wanted to bring to your attention since I was last here. A couple of new products that we've come out with. Number one is our Xfinity Phone. So we ventured into the cellular phone business, offering Xfinity Phone off of the Verizon backbone. It just launched about 3-4 weeks ago. We did some trial periods, and now you'll see it in all our stores. We've also come up with another product to sort of match our Wi-Fi, our X1, but we call it X-Fi, and it's for your home Wi-Fi. There's a lot of, and I'm looking at Garrett here because he's probably going to ask me a ton of questions about it. But let me just put it this way. Maybe we'll talk afterwards. But the cool things are you can turn on and off your Wi-Fi at home. So let's say, it's dinner time and the kids are on the, just turn off the Wi-Fi. They can't do anything. They got to sit down and they got to talk to mom and dad and everybody else. Like Karen's going, that's cool. So there's a bunch of more bandwidth, faster speeds, things like that. But XFi is here. And then the last piece I want to bring up is our Internet Essentials. It's our low-cost internet program for families, children and families who are on the free and reduced lunch program. We launched it in 2011. The school districts that were here, they've been great partners in terms of helping us spread the word and the message about our low-cost internet program. $9.95 for children or families who have children who are either on the free or reduced lunch program. And actually, we opened it up to families who receive HUD, individuals or family who receive HUD housing. But just some of the numbers that in the 6 years, 3 million low-income Americans, that's about 750,000 families have signed up, so average of 4 per family. Sacramento continues to be one of the top, it's the second highest region in California, but it's in the top 10 in terms of families that have taken advantage of this program in the state, in the 39 states that we cover. We've increased the speeds. We've added some more features to it. We're doing a big back-to-school effort, push to get this out. So I continue work with Elliot at Sacramento City Unified, Elk Grove. Elk Grove is a great partner. They're one of the top school districts, and I just talked to their communications director today, and they're going to help us get a brochure, a flyer into every Friday folder in the students, 61 schools. So anyway, terrific program. If you want any more information about it, just please let me know, and we're just hoping to spread the word to get more families signed up. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thanks, Phil. Thank you, Philip. Are there any others? No? Okay. We'll move on to the next item.
Item number 10 is to receive comments from the public.
Great. Are there any public comments? No? Excellent. Then we'll move on to the adjournment. And I've never got to do this before, but meeting adjourned.
Thank you.